What if I told you the most important lesson from the Lorax was never in the final film? In this deep dive, we unravel Biggering, the deleted song from the Lorax 2012 that corporations didn't want you to hear. A song that dared to show greed not as an accident, but as a conscious choice driven by pride and ego. We explore how this theme echoes across media, from George Carlin's brutal honesty about systematic greed to Blue Lock's exploration of ego as both a weapon and a prison. Let me show you how greed is not born in a boardroom, it's born in the mirror, and sometimes it wears a smile. This isn't just about a cartoon, this is about us. We live in a system that rewards bickering. More profit, more power, more consumption. But bickering held up a mirror to that mindset, and it was silenced. So let's ask, what if the Once-ler wasn't a monster, but a reflection? Featuring insights from Carlin, Blue Lock, and the philosophy of yin and yang, this video unpacks the spiritual cost of unchecked ambition, and how the path to fulfillment may lie in the balance between drive and serenity. As George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. From the swamp of mediocrity to the storm of ambition, what will you choose? Our first segment is the facade of progress. How bad can I be versus bickering? Let's talk about the Lorax, specifically two songs. How Bad Can I Be, the one that made it into the movie, and Bickering, the original, raw, unfiltered version that was cut. How Bad Can I Be is catchy, playful, and marked like a commercial. It's bright, bouncy, almost fun. But that's the point. It's the corporate mask, what George Carlin might call the polished turd. Wrapped in a bow, it's not what's said, it's what's omitted. George Carlin once said, "They want obedient workers, just smart enough to run the machines, not smart enough to ask why." This song is the sugar-coated why. It wants you to believe corporations are just naive, maybe irresponsible, but never malicious. Then there's Bickering. This song doesn't lie. The Once-ler knows what he's doing, he knows things are dying, but he just doesn't care. He admits, "I won't stop, bickering's what I do." This song wasn't cut because it was bad, it was cut because it was honest. And honesty threatens a system built on denial. Cutting Bickering from the film really weakened the film's anti-corporate message. Bickering showed the Once-ler's dark descent into corporate greed, but it was tragically replaced with How Bad Can I Be, which is more marketable, upbeat, and memeable. There was a tone shift and missed opportunity. Bickering had a potential to provide a dark turning point, showing the Once-ler's growing moral decay. It would have strengthened the film's environmental and anti-capitalist message, but replacing it created a lighter, more digestible villain arc, stripping the movie of emotional thematic weight. The film has fun moments and good animation, but the core anti-message is diluted. The town has no real reason to care about trees, no stake or urgency. O'Hare is a flat villain, while Once-ler is made relatable. The original 1972 version kept the Once-ler faceless, a symbol of greed, but the 2012 version humanized him to be more relatable to the audience per producer's request. How Bad Can I Be is catchy and memeable, built for replayability and marketing. It reflects Bo Burnham's style of satire of consumer culture. On a meta level, the song is corporate irony, a commercial about anti-commercialism, but fails to show the Once-ler's awareness or remorse. It glosses over the consequences of destruction. Which brings me to the next section. Segment 2. The Mask of the CEO, Pride, Ego, and Plausible Deniability. How Bad Can I Be presents Once-ler as naive, misguided, and not malicious. Just a victim of family pressure, not corporate greed. It allows the audience and corporations to see themselves in him. It avoids holding anyone truly accountable, giving plausible deniability. It makes it easier for real-world corporations to co-opt the message while ignoring its critique. The song propagates excuses made by companies for decades. Companies want you to see them as the Once-ler, pressured and naive to be so successful. Here's a quote I heard from the Sinscroft video about the Bickering song. "The minute you make the Once-ler a monster, you allow the audience to interpret that the problem is caused by somebody who is different from me, and it ceases to be a story about all of us," by Chris Meledandri. Monsters don't do deliberate evil. People like you can do evil too. Just because you can relate to a CEO doesn't mean you can trust them to do what's right. The song How Bad Can I Be paints companies as irresponsible and ignorant, but companies know well beforehand of the dangers from the products. They make a conscious choice to prioritize profits. Since God points out in Bickering how the Lorax says, "Who cares if some things are dying?" While in How Bad Can I Be, it says, "Who cares if a few trees are dying?" That change and others like it gives him plausible deniability. The writers were in a rock and a hard place, having to write a critique of consumerism and talking about corporate greed and conservatism, but having to please the big corporations and sponsors. O'Hare is cartoonishly evil and easy to dismiss, while the Once-ler is made a relatable entrepreneur, a dangerous myth. The message becomes, greed is okay if you didn't mean it. The final version of the Once-ler, and by extension corporations, maintain a plausible deniability. They're just doing their best. They're just trying to grow. But here's the thing. The destruction is not an accident. It's planned, measurable, profitable. What Chris Meledandri said about not being able to see ourselves in the Once-ler once we make him a monster, yeah, that's the trick. The Once-ler can't be a monster. He has to be us. Because otherwise, we never ask the hard question, what am I bickering? I think bickering should have been played after the How Bad Can I Be song, symbolizing how companies show a facade, then we see what's under the surface. Letting the trees die doesn't have any impact on the rich and wealthy townspeople. The whole film is a display of our society's problem with consumerism. How Bad Can I Be is like a commercial, while hiding the shady practices companies do underneath for profit. Bickering could have taught kids about the lies companies tell to get away with things. Wokeness, for example, comes from BlackRock and its programs. Most companies don't care about diversity, just profit. The modern Once-ler doesn't look at his destruction, while the Bickering song emphasizes how he knows exactly what he's doing, but he simply doesn't care. At the end of the How Bad Can I Be song, he looks at the audience, not at the destruction at his feet. That is what major corporations do. But the song gives a lie. They are not reckless and accidentally committing atrocities and destroying the environment. This brings me to my next section. Segment 3, the Blue Lock Paradox. Ego as fuel, ego as a prison. Let's talk about the core that the Bickering song says is at the heart of greed. Pride. I also like to look at it as ego as it is presented in Blue Lock. Switching gears to Blue Lock, a show about ego, and a damn good one at that. In Blue Lock, ego isn't a villain, it's the engine. It's ambition, drive, and the desire to be the best. A good dose of ego can be a good thing. Butcher, for example, teaches us that most people, as they grow up, they give in and follow the crowd and slowly stop listening to their inner voice and ego or drive to do what they want. While pretending they can't hear their inner voice, they actually get to the point where they can't hear their own voice at all. Wanting to fit in, or feeling like you're not good enough, or putting yourself through hell to please other people, only over time completely overwhelms that inner voice. We start rationalizing why we do certain actions we know we don't want to do, then a few years later, you look back and wonder why you ever did any of that. But here's the philosophical trap. What lifts you up to greatness can also chain you to hell. Having an obsession with surpassing others or being the strongest can create a mindset that hinders your true potential, and you can feel trapped by the very pride and ego that pushes you to greatness. That same ego can become a cage. When you're never enough, when you're always chasing more, you forget why you started. Blue Lock shows us how ego can make you soar to new heights, but it can become a prison if left unchecked. This brings me to the solution I found. Segment 4, the yin and yang, two philosophies of life. This is where my personal philosophy comes in. I live by two truths. I call it the tranquil storm ideology. A philosophy forged in fire, tempered by silence. I call it an ideology rather than a mindset because there are certain habits and that are connected to it, to the mindset, that really enforces it, like the you think you become what you think, gratitude journaling, manifesting, meditation, yoga, etc. that add to it, so it's more of an ideology. But that's neither here nor there. Philosophy 1, the trap of comfort, the gilded cage. Comfort keeps you safe from the storms, but it is a gilded cage, keeping you from seeing the sunlight past the storm, the very essence of being alive. Look around you. You see comfort masquerading as contentment. You see a slow, agonizing rot disguised as living your best life. You see a parade of the mediocre congratulating each other on existing. We can't let the stand slowly bury our potential. We're not built for the lukewarm or forged for the beige. If you crave the comfort of obscurity, wonderful, settle in. But know this, safety is a gilded cage. It keeps us from the storms, yes, but it also keeps you from the sun. The very essence of being alive. Mediocrity is a slow and silent killer. It slits your dreams a teaspoon at a time. It whispers complacency in your ear until your ambitions turn to dust. It suffocates you with the fetid air of get enough. Is that all we are? Just get enough. Just another face in the crowd. A drone in the hive. Don't you yearn for something more? Something savage and untamed? Hunger for greatness? If it is not extinguished, will arise from the stagnant swamp of mediocrity. Mediocrity will whisper fear and doubt into our ears. Ignore it. Mediocrity for those who dare to defy it. Be the storm, not the sheltered harbor. Be the flame, not the flickering candle. Rise with the embers of ambition in your eyes. Carve your path, even if it means leaving scorched earth in your wake. Mediocrity is a slow death. Choose life. Glorious, terrifying, remarkable life. Comfort is a gilded cage. Keeps you from the storms, but it also blocks the sunlight. In a world obsessed with good enough, I refuse to drown in mediocrity because mediocrity is a slow death. It whispers complacency. It turns dreams to dust. I will leave in fire. Be the storm, not the sheltered harbor. Be the flame, not the flickering candle. This connects to the idea of the cost of ideals and saving energy, as it is seen in Code Geass and Hyoka, but I'll go on that tangent in a different video. But that mindset has a cost, which brings us to philosophy 2, the tranquility counterbalance. This mindset has a slippery slope though. I wanted another mindset that is the yin and yang to this way of thinking. I'm trying to keep these two philosophies in. The other philosophy is to find peace and serenity in living every day and enjoying the small things, as well as helping others. The game before your eyes really shows the way of thinking that you don't need to care for others' expectations or your own defined happiness, just to be okay and have flaws. This is where the stillness and the storm mindset of tranquility comes in. This mindset makes you appreciate the small things in life, such as doing activities that you like to do simply because you enjoy doing them, and not because you need others to help you feel validated to enjoy them. The tranquility mindset helps you find comfort in just being yourself without having to worry about the weight of expectations or others' perceptions, or the pressure to always be the best, and allows you to embrace just being yourself. Enjoying life for what it is, rather than constantly striving for more, is where true happiness can lay. Me not focusing on expectations or power and just being myself makes sure anger or pride doesn't cloud my judgment. I am serene and tranquil and don't care for others' expectations or how they view me. I am just me. I am calm. The reason why I don't go completely with the tranquil mindset though is because it would be a disservice to just be content, not trying to do your best at whatever you want to do. It would be a disservice to you if you didn't do your best. It can be okay to just be fine with whatever happens to you in life, but it would be a disservice to yourself if you didn't do your best. Battle is a storm. If you are the storm, you will be consumed. But if you are the stillness in the center, you will weather any storm. I own my mind to be tranquil, to master the elements. One must first master the self. One must remain calm and tranquil under pressure, for only in calmness could one achieve true strength. I focus on my own growth. I don't think about others' growth. What normal people do on a 1 to 10, people at the top of their field. What us normal people do on a 1 to 10, people at the top of their field do on a 1 to 20, or a more denser or effective 10. Our results are nothing more than the byproduct of our actions. If you want to fix anything, fix those. If I see a bigger fish in the pond come out of nowhere who surpassed me, I view it as they simply worked a denser 10 when I didn't notice. You can brag or complain after you have reached your potential. You don't have to burn yourself alive just to light the way for others. This is the calm in the center of the storm. The joy of doing things just because they bring you peace. Not because they make you powerful. Not because someone is watching. But because they make you, you. Let me tell you about a dark truth that a comedian warned us about decades ago, but we still haven't listened. Segment 5. The George Carlin Lens. The lie we bought. Let's bring it full circle. George Carlin was right. The system is rigged. Corporations want how bad can I be to be the truth. They want you to think destruction is an accident. They want you to believe CEOs are just like you, that if you had power, you'd do the same. But it's a lie. They know what they're doing. They're not dumb. They're not out of control. They're in control. Of you, of me, of the narrative. George Carlin spoke a lot about how corporations own America and the courts and the systems, and how it makes us just smart enough to work in machines, but just dumb enough to accept the worst pay, longer hours, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that vanishes the minute you got collected. And how the system is rigged. He says the public is bad, saying things like, not in my backyard, and us not caring for each other. And since if the public is bad, then of course we will elect bad politicians. He once said, they got you by the balls, and they want it that way. You can still go back and look at some of his skits like those on YouTube if you want. I go back to those all the time and watch them, and he still makes me laugh, think about stuff even now. So what can we do about all this? Segment 6. Where do we go from here? So what's the answer? Find your flame, but don't let it burn you. Strive for greatness, but not at the cost of your peace. Recognize the system, but don't surrender to it. You're not just another cog. You're not just a consumer. You are your own narrative alchemist. You choose what story you're telling with your life. Shameless plug here. If you really want to strut the road to make big changes in the system, then join my community. I'm trying to build Project Noble Sin, a website that I'm trying to build up into a potential movement. More on that later. Conclusion. Bickering showed the descent into corporate evil. It had a gospel-style ending with a strong moral wrap-up. The early Chet song was about materialism and consumerism, and it was also a song about animal and environmental impact. Bickering could have made the Lorax darker, more honest, and powerful. Instead, we got a catchy distraction that comforts viewers rather than challenging them. We were so close to a meaningful message, but shows marketability over meaning. My call to action will tell you a way to help you change things, so listen to that if you like. And please stay after that to hear about a new series I'll put into videos and about a little bit about what makes me unique over other content creators. So I will yap a bit, but it all has a point. The community I'm building, Project Noble Sin, it will turn fictional characters and real people the world and history tried to bury, like Alan Turing, into saints or broken halos. On the website it says, we don't worship the old gods, we dissect them, we understand them, from fallen saints like Light the Fallen God to others admired like Saint Lelouch. I am building a catalog of modern myth and scripture, one for the modern era, with its own holy wars, magic systems, and mythology and lore. So writers can eventually come to the site and start contributing with that stuff if they like to. I've always felt shamed by religion and felt like sin. So on the site, I made my persona be Saint Vice, the condemned altruist. Takes that back and make me be unapologetically myself. While the righteous pray for the outcast while doing nothing, and the messages being contradictory, some preach turning the other cheek and loving their neighbor, which I get behind, while others say to punish certain activities with starving to death. In my movement, I'm building actions that will help those who need it will be woven into everything, from a Patreon where 95% of the money would go into charitable causes, and the 5% going to me and keeping the site maintained. I'm paying for the site expenses, or hopefully future IRL activities like having people role-playing iconic events in the mythos and selling art of the saints with portions of profits going to charitable causes and having fun events. In the long run, I want the commandments and the pillars to get internalized into people and these saints' beliefs, so there will be ripples from small to large into society, to helping others and forgiving them after seeing it's a certain saint's day or one you follow. On a large scale, even become a voting blocks in different countries to cause real change. This is just a sliver of what I want to build. Once people join, I will build up a Discord, Reddit, and Patreon. Just search for projectnoblesin.com and it will be there. Or click the link in the description. FYI, I have a bad laptop that shuts off every 10 minutes or so when unplugged from the charger and freezes. So after I do basic actions like using the search bar, it pretty much just freezes up. And so it kind of makes it a little bit hell to use for anything. But I am working on plans for that to try to get a proper computer. Have patience with a half-baked website design. I never made a website before, so I'm a total novice. I'm learning little by little. It'd be great to one day get fans of the project to overhaul the website. On a side note, I use Poly AI to express my writing and fan fiction chops with different stories. I've been writing stories, worlds within worlds. For example, of a society of dimensional versions of a hero with a quirk called Dimension Hopper. A society of versions of him who helps fight anomalies from different dimensions, and along with some other stronger Class 1A students, help him in fighting from other dimensions in holy wars against demons in magic dimensions, magic realms. My bad guy I made there is called Crimson Tyrant, a dark black ego, ruling over an apocalyptic realm. There's magic wars and alternate futures. That's just one of the stories I've made that I think are somewhat interesting with the plot wise or synopsis wise, and I want to share them with you to see which ones you want me to dive into more. I'd love to have a video where I show off some of these stories I made and see which ones people want me to expand upon. I would format it like each story would have its own section where it gives a piece of the story or sneak peek to see what sounds most fun to listen to. Then I would upload them like with my after stories that I now call Afterglyph Echoes, where it have sound effects and things like that. Next is featured content, what makes me unique from other creators. My YouTube channel is called Narrative Alchemist, where I focus on the messages in film, shows, and other entertainment. I focus on how the themes are part of philosophy and how we can use them in life. I fundamentally believe philosophy and lessons we learn from media is the key to living a fulfilled life. It's like a cheat sheet for your problems in a way. Philosophy always helped me look at things from different perspectives. On a more personal level, you'll see my past explained in on the side a bit more through my persona, but I felt like I was an imposter when I was younger, so I had to. So I looked to philosophy as a way to understand things, and it kind of gave me a path to help me become whole. And I wanted to share that with others. That context explains why I point out things like how the Brigham song says pride is the cause of greed, and I connected that idea to how ego is presented in Blue Lock. My brand is a balance of media analysis, philosophy, and cultural critique. I put out videos that involve the subjects I like discussing on the channel, such as self-improvement, psychology, cultural critique, philosophy, and storytelling. I've always had a knack for connecting seemingly unrelated ideas together. I usually do this when I have shower thoughts or my brain is bored and has nothing to do but ponder about things. My brain acts like a spider connecting different story themes together in a web, tying them up. For example, if my subject was surveillance, I would bring up the animes No 6, Psychopaths, and Code Geass, and I could definitely find a way to put Danganronpa in there as well, looking at how the government and school bodies fell. And for real world examples, I'll talk about the CCP government and major family run companies run in South Korea, and talk about North Korea, while asking the questions of how much privacy are we willing to give up for safety and comfort. I'll bring up the Japanese game show that happened a few decades ago as well. In it, a man was filmed 24/7 and was humiliated at the end of the series in front of an audience, showing how we ourselves enjoy privacy being stripped away, such as stalking celebrities' love lives and the latest beef between rappers. I would even tie in One Piece and the CCP universe with its world government and how Emu will do anything to keep control and the shady things in the SCP. My Hero Academia could be used as well with its Hero Commission, using orphans like Hawk as soldiers and making quirk suppressants, which should be people's human rights to have their quirk. If I wanted to bring this down to the individual level, I could mention Dobby, how watching your kids and controlling them for protection hurts them and all the ways it hurts the emotional development. This is how my scatterbrain functions. I connect different things together in a way that at first doesn't seem related until I format and present them in a certain way. I think that's an incredible strength I have for my channel. I'm a concept weaver. I naturally build layered arguments that are bigger than any one fandom or topic. And that's rare, I think. In the future, I'll make more videos based on this. So that brings me to my new video series. There'll be a big picture video series that are called Spiderweb Thoughts, or Threading the Needle, Connecting Worlds Through Story. This will be a special series where I literally weave a web of ideas from different shows, games, books, psychology, philosophy, history, and real life. Each episode will cover one central philosophical theme with many quote-unquote unrelated examples woven into one tapestry by the end. I like to think that I'm not scatterbrained, but I'm interdisciplinary, like a myth maker or an archivist weaving legends and truths together. I have a few mega projects in the pipeline that'll take at least a month or two to work on, maybe more, but I'll have smaller ones like this dispersed in between for convenience. And I'm working on, William Afton video, where I look at a bunch of different interpretations of Afton, and that video might take like an hour, 2 hours maybe or something. I don't know. I'm not fully sure how long it'll take. I'm excited to sink my teeth into that one. Philosophy isn't just old books and big words. It's hidden in the shows we watch, the songs we hear, the stories we tell ourselves. This is Narrative Alchemist. Until next time, keep creating your story. Before I start the after story here, I wanted to have the name for my story and the book here. It was tricky at first since I wanted to have multiple books covering large conflicts, but I went with Phantom Thesis, Agartha, and the Soul's Ascent as the name. This first book that I've been going through, I decided to call it Book 1, Fragments of the Phantom Codex. Each piece a torn page from a codex long thought lost. Fulcanelli, the front-end master, has left notes from his journeys. Enjoy the afterglyph echo. Ignis frowns. Clicking open the file is a mix of highly technical language, with strange references to memory restoration, article consciousness, and something about preserving the human experience. A sinking feeling settles into his stomach in a monologue. Memory restoration? Human experiences? These AIs aren't just simulations. I have always assumed they were, but what if there are something else? Why is this coming up now? Why didn't I know about this before? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for here. I just watch the data. I keep it running. Keep them combined. Keep them contained. But this is different. Why the secrecy? AI shouldn't fucking feel the need for secrecy. Heck, they shouldn't feel in the first place. Ignis has a spine-chilling thought slowly sleeping in his mind as he watches Aaron's avatar on screen. His movement's steady, but there's something unsettling about the way it interacts with the project. Almost like it's aware of something Ignis isn't. The image flickers briefly, almost as if trying to send a message. Ignis freezes, staring at the screen. This is not just some AI problem. This is real. But how real? Or am I the only one who's noticing? Ignis leans in closer, flicking through more of the file. A faint alarm starts to sound in the background. A reminder that his time is running out before Shepard checks in on his progress. But his curiosity keeps him glued to the screen. The more he digs, the more he wonders just who or what Aaron Petrov really is. The project seems to go deeper than a simple simulation. What am I doing? Is this part of my job? Am I supposed to be controlling this? Or is this something I'm not supposed to know? I just monitor. What if I'm supposed to stop this? Should I stop this? The sound of Shepard's footsteps echo in the hall outside. A reminder that Ignis can't keep investigating forever. But something inside him tells him that no matter what happens next, this is no ordinary task and no ordinary job. When Shepard approaches, Ignis closes what he was looking at quickly, then turns to Shepard. Shepard comes in and says, "Looks like Serpent's hand tried to mess with the framework of Sea Haven while I was on my daily outings with PDC again. Ignis, I trust you the most to handle this. Follow me." We then hear Ignis and Shepard walking through the facility and go to a hidden door underground. Ignis then says, "Sir, what is this place?" Shepard then says, "They broke part of Sea Haven's network pretty badly. I need someone to go in the simulation themselves to fix it. You'll have 3 months salary bonus for doing this, Mr. Satori." He then opens the door and we see a giant tube with a mind cap attached to the ceiling. Just walk in here, put on the oxygen mask, and the tube will fill with special liquid. And you'll be inside the simulation. Ignis blinks multiple times. "Sure, Major Shepard, sir." He then walks inside and puts on the oxygen mask and head cap. Then Shepard closes the door and walks to the control panel. He then starts the machine and says quietly, "I hope you'll make the choices I can't make, son, for all our sakes." We then hear ominous noises and liquid rising.